wouldn't quite go that far. But the Jake Paul Tyron Woodley fight is upon us. It is upon us. We've just been talking about it there for a moment. It seems like a few months ago. I know it is. It's happening this weekend, Cleveland, Ohio. And Harrington, what is the odds? I think Jake Paul, surprisingly, is the favorite, which is. It is surprising, but it isn't surprising when you consider that, Tyron lost his last 4, but even still. But what are the actual odds? Because I was talking to Damon Martin, because by the look on your face, says that Jake Paul isn't the favorite. But Damon Martin from MMA Fighting a few minutes ago, right before the show, maybe he was the one that held me longer than the fucking agreed 30 minutes. I'm just saying, maybe it was him. Is he right? Is Jake Paul the favorite?
Yeah, he's a minus 180 favorite. You can get Tyron Woodley right now plus 150.
I wish it was a little bit more one-sided odds against Tyron, because I would bet on Tyron if it paid a little better.
Well, let's be honest. Who do you think wins this weekend? Who do you think wins?
I'm still picking Tyron, but Gil Burns definitely made me think. And the inside information that he gave on the show, which is that he knows a guy who's held pads and trained with both of them. And I think that's really valuable information, and says that Jake Paul is fucking hungry, wants it more, and he thinks he's going to win. That really did stand out to me. Maybe I'm just picking with my heart here, but I'm still picking Tyron, but it is really close. I don't think Tyron's going to smoke him.
Yeah. I honestly just don't know. I really don't know. It's not that I'm sitting on the fence, but I can see it going either way. The thing is, as you said, Gilbert Burns did say that is a relevant point. What Tyron Woodley are we going to get? I mean, this is what it all comes down to. You know, I say it all the time, don't I? This is... Yeah, of course, it's a physical sport, but the mind controls everything. Where is Tyron Woodley's mind? On the flip side, we know where Jake Paul is. Jake Paul's undefeated. He's young. He's rich. He's got everyone swinging off his nuts. His confidence is through the roof. He just knocked out Ben Askren in his last one. And even though I was the only person that picked Jake Paul, and I don't know why that was. I think maybe a lot of people just did it because they felt they had to go with the UFC guy. I don't know what it was, but I was like, Ben can't fight. But one thing, but what Ben has, though, because I'm not trying to shit on Ben. No, if you take grappling out of it, Ben can't fight. He's not a skilled striker. That's just an observation.
Wrestling is so good that it was able to win him a world championship. It's not
a criticism to Ben. I'm not trying to criticize Ben, but he just can't. He can't box. You know, and it was a boxing fight. I was like, I don't see him winning that. But one thing that Ben always did have, up until the Jorge Masvidal fight, was a good chin. You know, he wasn't getting knocked out. He took fucking Robbie Lawler's best shots and went in there with many, many good strikers as well over the years, and he was always able to not get knocked out. Well, Jake Paul knocked him out with one shot, so he's definitely got the power. You know what I mean? And Tyron Woodley, I don't know. I mean, he's saying all the right things. When you see the interviews with him, and when you look at him on Instagram and you see the training footage, he seems to have the correct approach. And I know that Tyron wants to use this as a springboard to becoming, you know, a full-time boxer. I mean, if he goes out there, beats Jake Paul on Showtime, given the level of notoriety and fame that Tyron already has in combat sports world, there's a good potential. I don't know. Maybe they have offered him a multi-fight deal, but if they haven't, if he goes out and beats Jake, there's a good potential that they offer him one. So he's saying all the right things. He's doing all the right things, but he lost his last 4 in a row. He's also pushing 40. Jake Paul's 24. He's taller. He's got the longer reach. He's hungry, and he's undefeated. And yes, he's only had 3, but still, he's undefeated. He feels that he can't fucking be beaten. And whereas Tyron Woodley, well, he knows he can be because he has been in his last 4 professional fights.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. It's not like Tyron Woodley's getting knocked out. He's got 2 knockouts on his record, and the last time he was knocked out was a long time ago. I think it was it Nate Morcourt and like Strikeforce or
what you mean when Tyron got knocked out?
Yeah. Tyron, he did lose 4 in a row, but his last one was a submission, and then it was three. I guess the one. Was the one a referee stoppage? I guess.
Well, the one with Colby, was it when his rib popped?
Yeah, it was doctor stoppage. So it's not like Tyron's getting knocked out. It's he's still got a chin for all intents and purposes. You know, obviously he still has a chin. Look, Tyron's a real deal athlete, right? And I think that that's another side of this. Tyron's not coming in like Ben, where Ben was really out of shape. Ben took the paycheck. Ben was like, I think I'm enough of an athlete. This guy's just a YouTuber. He really underestimated Jake Paul. And I really believe that Tyron, when he says he's not underestimating Jake Paul, I believe him. He looks like he's taking it very, very seriously, as he should be. Everyone, I think, underestimated Jake Paul up until this last fight. And now everyone's going, Jake Paul might actually be real deal. Now, if he beats Tyron Woodley, does that make him real deal? No. I think at that point he faces another up and coming boxer that specializes in the sport of boxing, and then he's progressing along. But for anyone to criticize Jake Paul for the way he's coming along, I think most boxers come along and they fight nobodies until they get to a certain level. He's actually fighting guys who have combat experience for the most part. Now he's fighting MMA guys, but very, very dangerous opponents. I think that Tyron Woodley is the athleticism that Tyron has. If he can wear him down and bring him into later rounds, I think Tyron Woodley can win this fight. But I think he honestly has to come in with a really, really strong game plan.
Well, yeah. Well, of course, he's got to come in the game plan. I don't know what that game plan would be though, because his last 4 fights, he skims around the octagon. He's actually got a fight, but then his final fight against Vicente Luque, he was a victim of that situation. So what he wanted to do was eradicate this narrative that he does take his time, and he went out there like a bat out of hell, and that ended up biting him in the ass as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's just such a hard mental trip when you're in there and you don't know how to approach it. And he's lost his last 4, and there's so much riding on it, and he's 38 years old. And he talked about how he blew a lot of his money, and he wants to use this to revitalize his combat sports career and become a boxer. It's just a lot of pressure. Whereas Jake, even though he's the undefeated one, and typically that would give you pressure, there's no pressure from Jake Paul's side. He's got money in the bank. He's got his YouTube following. He's got his Instagram. He's got all the stuff that he does. He's got bloody every fucking teeny bopper under the sun swinging off his nuts.
And even if Jake loses, it's not like Jake can still box. Even if Jake lost this, he can do another fight.
Yeah, no, sure, exactly. Whereas if Tyron loses in a kind of spectacular fashion as well to Jake Paul, do you know what I mean? It's like, and I want Tyron to win. I wish him the best. I really do. But if we're speaking as friends here, and obviously as if we're in a private scenario, but we're not because it's a podcast, but we're going to speak our minds. I think it's a tough spot for Tyron Woodley because he's not a boxer either. And I know, of course, we throw hands in mixed martial arts, but having a boxing fight and throwing combinations on the handpans when you're getting ready for MMA, they're two different things. They are different things. And has Tyron done that? I mean, of course, he's got good coaches and he was training with Mayweather and all the rest of it, and they kind of took him under his wing. But when he was fighting MMA, he was a power guy. He was looking for one shot. He was looking for leg kicks. He was looking for double leg takedowns. He was never a guy that was fucking dancing around the place, head movement here, there, slipping the jab, double jab, but back off, boom, right hand, pimping people, pivoting, doing all this shit, working to the body. You know what I mean? That's not how he fought. Do you know what I mean? He was like a lot of wrestlers that go out there that have knockout power. They look for that shot. So anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I am looking, and I wish Tyron the best.
Really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
I'm pumped. And I will say, give Jake Paul some credit because he talked about what a fucking clown show that Triller broadcast was. He I guess he had problems with people that were at the actual broadcast table. I guess he had a problem with Pete Davidson, and but he was like, yeah, that he recognized that it was a shit show. It was not a real boxing event. It was not a real sporting event. Showtime Boxing is going to put on a real boxing card Sunday night. We're going to see an actual real boxing card. And it's going to be presented as such. So I'm sort of excited to see that as well. Definitely rooting hard for Tyron Woodley. I don't know how much how much can you really learn from Mayweather? Like, you have to program yourself. And I'm sure he learned some tricks, but
you can learn a lot. If you want to learn, which I'm assuming he does. And of course he does because he's trying to reinvent himself as a boxer. It's just, excuse me. And I'm sure
do you believe that, by the way?
Believe what?
That he's trying to reinvent himself as a boxer?
That's what he said. And why wouldn't he? He's fighting on Showtime, and if he beats Jake Paul, it's there that little new golden pony for bringing in new fans and all the rest of it, and it could maybe help bring Showtime into a new era, if we will, bringing in some younger fans, because that's what people always said as well, in this whole boxing versus mixed martial arts debate, which is it shouldn't be like that, but there's still a little bit of that. They say, boxing is the sport that your granddad watches, and MMA is what the younger generations watch. So this is a good opportunity for Showtime, and I'm sure they recognize it, and that's why they want to bring in somebody like a Jake Paul, because they bring in all new fans, and it's that key demographic, the 18 to the 24-year-olds, or what is it, 18 to 34-year-olds, I think, actually, what I mean? The guys with the expendable income, they haven't got wife and kids telling them what to do, and they can do whatever the fuck they want at the weekends. My God, they were good times. But they're the guys they're trying to bring in.
Do you remember 18 to 34? How much it fucking ruled?
Oh my God. I tell them all the time. I tell my kids, you're living the best days of your life right now. You don't understand it, but these are the best years of your life. They're like, yeah, sure, Dad.
Being an 18 to 34-year-old white male in society, it fucking rules. And nobody can
Why is he going to be a white male? Why are you going to throw that in? Just be 18 to 34.
Demographic.
Well, you can be Hispanic. How was your 18 to 30-year-old experience?
Nobody wants the Hispanic numbers. We want those.
You're throwing your little slide digs here and there, and I'm going to pull you on them. If you're throwing your slide digs, I'm going to pull you on them. Simple as that. White male. Jesus Christ. We're the fucking devils these days. Anyway, moving on.